My name is David Strayer, and I'm a professor of psychology at the University of Utah. In our lab, we use a high-fidelity driving simulator. We can actually study the kinds of things that lead to real-world accidents and increase the kind of risk when people text or talk on the phone or drink and drive. Well, when we started studying driver distraction, one of the first things we learned was that when you talk on a cell phone, it's pretty hazardous. In fact, you're about 4 times as likely to get into a crash when you're talking on a phone as if you weren't distracted by the use of that phone. Just to kind of put that 4-fold crash risk into some perspective, when we look at people who are drunk, intoxicated at the legal limit at a 0.08 blood alcohol level, their crash risk is also about 4 times higher than if they weren't impaired. A lot of people think that if they're using a hands-free cell phone that it's a little safer. It turns out it's not. What we've learned is that when you talk on a cell phone, first of all, you don't notice things in your peripheral vision as well. And if you think about that, that's where a pedestrian might be coming out of, walking across the street, or a car might be approaching, and you just don't notice that. And even worse, the things you are looking at, you don't necessarily see as well. And so it creates something called inattention blindness, where you look but fail to see. And what we've been able to show is even though your eyes may be looking at an object, maybe looking at a pedestrian or someone on a car, it may just not register. And we can even show that when we measure brain activity and show that people's brain activity related to things in the driving environment just isn't as registered as well. When you talk on a cell phone, you just basically tune out lots of information that really would make you a safe driver. So you miss your exit a lot. We see lots of cases where people drive right through stop signs or traffic lights. So when someone's talking on a cell phone, be it handheld or hands-free, their crash risk is about the same as a drunk driver. When we look at some of the other activities that people have started doing more recently, like texting, that's much more dangerous. Your eyes aren't on the road, but you're also really busy composing that message. People will take their eyes off the road for 5, 6, 7 seconds, and if you're going on the freeway speeds, you may be traveling a couple, 1, 2, maybe 3 football lengths, depending on how long your eyes are off the road. In our studies, people are about 8 times more likely to be involved in a crash. You wouldn't get in the car and blindfold yourself and drive for 5 or 6 seconds. That'd be crazy. But when people are text messaging, they're doing the very same thing.
Recent research has shown that talking on the phone while you're driving, even with the hands-free set, makes you as likely to crash as somebody who's legally drunk. Does that surprise you at all?
Yes, that does surprise me.
That does surprise me.
Yeah, that's really surprising. That's crazy.
And that same research has found that if texting